Hi, I'm Andy Street. I chair Christian Action Bristol, which seeks to bring the church across the city together to address some of those key social needs and political issues across the city. And over lockdown, over the last 3 to 4 months, we've seen church engaging in some amazing ways, reaching out to those in different areas of need. And the film you're going to see over the next few minutes just gives a few examples of where church has really made a difference. And we hope that you'll enjoy it, be encouraged, but also be inspired to get engaged. Hope you enjoy it.
So we set up an emergency food bank here called the BS3 Community Larder. We now have over 60 volunteers from the local community and the churches who collect and sort donations, make telephone calls, make up packages and take everything out for delivery. Lots of other people in the community have been involved. The football stadium, community centres and pubs have donated fridges and freezers. Streets have organised food collections and businesses have got involved too. It's been really great to work alongside and with our local community in helping one another and building sustainable community that we can really show what it means to be neighbours to each other.
We have set up an emergency food bank with the support of East Bristol Food Bank. We are covering Knoll West and Philwood, but we have recently been also covering the whole of BS4. In the last 3 weeks, we have especially seen an increase in need for this food bank, with people losing their jobs, going into debt. So it's just been great to be part of this. Someone sofa surfing, didn't have a home of their own and hadn't eaten for 3 days. So being able to deliver a parcel with a friendly face to this person was just a bit emotional.
Just want to say that the donations have helped us support so many of our families with food parcels and vouchers, but most importantly, and really surprisingly, it's helped us to develop a much better relationship with our parents and a better understanding of their lives outside of school.
Very much at the beginning, we started getting our guys engaged with the food banks particularly. So we were able to have people volunteering at food banks. We were also able to raise money. So we had just an unbelievable offering. I think the biggest offering we've ever done, and we did it online. Suddenly people are getting engaged, but because their friends are watching, their families are watching, just the cumulative effect of many people giving who don't normally give meant that we were able to give a lot of money. Now, when it came to the kind of social upheaval with Black Lives Matter, actually this is something, again, we have a young congregation, majority 18 to 35, and they're passionate about this. But also we've got a congregation that has a really quite representative mix of ethnic minorities. And that's something that we've been working at over the last 2 or 3 years. So this wasn't something that just prompted us into action. We've been working on this intentionally for a while. And so that meant that we were able to, as a church, as a community, not only respond and make some statements, but actually to model what an integrated community working together, understanding one another, giving honour and respect to one another. We were able to model what that looks like. And so we have been able to put out not only media about this, but also to get involved and engage with some of the advocacy that's been going on. And on top of that, the whole green agenda, wanting a green recovery.
So what I've been doing is focusing on the Black Lives Matter campaign that obviously has happened in the last month. And that is involved in getting pastors together and getting people to make statements about the terrible thing that happened to George Floyd, but it's also recognising that this has been happening for years to Black people within the USA and also in the UK. And looking at the systemic racism and how that affects us generally in every area of our lives. So it's getting people to stand up to the injustices and to make a statement about that. And also, the other side of that is actually being creating a space for pastors to come together and look at and deal with depression. And if it may or may not be an issue for them, it's not the problem really, is the fact that we're trying to create a space for them to come and to listen, to find and resources, to glean off other people's experiences, and also to be encouraged. But in their role, there's so much for them to do that they can sometimes forget about themselves. So that was a space that I've created for them, and we will do a continual follow-up in August.
During COVID-19, we have seen the most extraordinary response from our partner churches in Bristol. We've seen early intervention coaches move to a remote coaching model, connecting with their coached children and families throughout this difficult time and bringing support into the home through a short FaceTime coaching session every week. Make Lunch has not been able to happen during the holidays, so we've seen our partner churches move to Boxes of Hope, delivering food parcels to families who are really struggling with hunger and with food poverty at this time. Every week they get a parcel delivered by the same person who also has a doorstep check-in and is just again bringing that support in a difficult time. It's been an amazing response across the whole city, and we really give thanks to all those people who've responded so quickly and brought this amazing support.
We've seen churches overwhelmingly give to the Bristol Churches City Fund, which has enabled Foodbanks to bulk purchase food on a regular basis. We've signposted hundreds of individuals who've signed up to share their time and their skills with organisations working right across the city in response to the pandemic. We've seen churches think creatively in how they can connect with those who've been stuck at home, with 4 churches around the city setting up telephone befriending support to offer company and a listening ear to those who are feeling lonely and struggling with isolation in this time. And we've guided churches in ways that they can partner with what's already happening in their neighbourhood.
I've been part of a team. I helped to set it up and I coordinate, I convene a meeting of some really key movers and shakers around the community. And we've done just the sort of stuff you'll be doing in your own church, befriending people, collecting food, collecting prescriptions, all of those sorts of things. But what's been really precious to me is that as a church, we have been right at the heart of what's happened. We've kept in touch with many agencies, with the health centre, with the co-op, the post office, the pharmacies, the schools, the residential homes, so many people, so many associations. So it's been a joy and a privilege for us to journey together over these past few months.
It's been such a pleasure to join with other organisations and churches to combine our efforts to do what we can.
We have 2 households who are now fostering children in the last few weeks. One of the couples, who've had a preschool little boy arrive at short notice, had never parented before, so they've had a great level of support needs. And as a former foster carer, I've been able to support some of these other homes that are also fostering children.
Christians responding to the COVID emergency fostering campaign have made up nearly 50% of the total of those in assessment. In recent weeks, we have seen households complete their training and children as young as 10 months and as old as 15 years welcomed into homes of safety and security where they will be loved. So Home for Good have put in place weekly Zoom peer support groups led by one of our amazing champions, so that those who step up to care in the most strange of circumstances have great access to support, encouragement and prayer together. Christians of Bristol, what you have done has paved the way for other local authorities all over the country to work with Home for Good, and has inspired churches to share the need for foster carers.
And the church response was incredible. One of the first meetings we had was with Andy Street, and obviously, talking about hunger and this was pre-lockdown. Actually, we saw something coming, just to begin to reorient all the work that was done around feeding children, young people, and families, to mobilise that machinery, that distribution network, to meet the needs of a lockdown city, and that happened, and it's been incredible to see that kick into place. We also talked about supporting people in social isolation. One of the specific areas we talked to church leaders about, and faith leaders in general. Actually, it was across the faith, was about the consequences of increased deaths. So there'd be more people likely to lose loved ones, when they lost them, they wouldn't be able to have the funerals they would have wanted. And in mourning, they would have gone back to homes isolated, not had these bigger social support systems around them to support them. So we talked to faith leaders about how they can, begin to prepare people for that and offer that pastoral support within the communities. And now, we're looking to the future now, and again, how does a city come through the trauma, you might say, of lockdown? We're not just going to bounce back to normal. There'll be a lot of legacy, and the church is going to have to be there with other faith groups as well, just leading us through that, leading us into the next chapter of our lives.